Alright, so these are some images that I just generated locally on my computer, but I didn't actually use my GPU, so instead I just relied on my CPU and of course my memory to run the model to generate these good looking images. In fact, the only thing that would be different when you're running an AI image model or AI text to image model using a CPU and GPU is only the time that it will take to actually get a picture done. So obviously, if you're using only your CPU, it's going to be significantly slower than using a more dedicated GPU. But other than that, everything else is essentially the same. The quality is the same. You can get all the features and you can run the model using, let's say, a low power device like perhaps a laptop or a very old computer. It is definitely still on the table. So let me show you the easiest way you can run an open source AI image model like Stable Diffusion, Flux, Image, and many others locally on your computer and only by using your CPU. So the tool that I highly recommend to do this job is called Stability Matrix. You can open Google and search for Stability Matrix, and this is essentially a sort of package manager. Now, by the way, in this Google search result page, you can open this link on GitHub. And yeah, Stability Matrix is again a package manager, and it is just making things a lot easier to install some AI apps. I think that's one simple way to call it, that later can be used to run some AI models, like in this case, Stable Diffusion. So I just opened this GitHub page, and then you can download this app or this platform to your computer, and you can choose based on your system. It is available for Windows, Linux, and of course Mac OS. And after that, you can open the program, you can launch it. So let me just open it, and later you can enable something called portable mode. That's actually a great feature because it will store everything. It will store all the files and dependencies into the same directory as the program. So this is probably going to be the thing that you'll see when you are launching this program for the first time. Just enable portable mode and then click continue. And this is optional. You can just ignore it or click don't share. Okay, so this is the first this is actually first time setup, and of course you can skip it. I'm going to click this, and okay, so right now we have nothing, like there is no AI app that we can use, and we need at least one AI app to be used later to run an open source AI image model. So on this package menu, click add package, and then you'll see that we got plenty of AI apps like Swarm UI, Stable Diffusion, Web UI. There is also FramePack. There is also 12GP, something that I have actually mentioned several times on my channel. But if you want to run an AI image model using your CPU, make sure that the app that you choose has this CPU label. Like in this case, Stable Diffusion Web UI Reforged is actually a highly rated AI app, and it also supports plenty of different platforms like NVIDIA, AMD, Mac OS, and of course you can run it on your CPU. And by the way, I actually have tried this on some laptops, and some of them cannot even see anything, like it's nothing here. And that's usually because when the hardware is very old or very low powered, you might not be able to see any models available in this menu. So you can open this, you can enable show all packages to just force this tool to show everything, and you can try install them. There's no guarantee that it's going to work, but at least you can give it a shot. Anyway, here I'll select Stable Diffusion Web UI Reforged. It is actually highly rated and it can run on a CPU. And then you can click the install button and just wait until it finishes. So this will take quite a while depending on your internet connection and also your configuration on your computer. And another thing that I think it is worth mentioning is that sometimes during the installation process, there could be a problem, there could be an error message. So when that happens, I do recommend to just take a snapshot of that error program or error message in the program, and then you can open like maybe ChatGPT or Perplexity or Cloud or something else, and then describe it, just upload a screenshot of the problem and then ask AI on how to fix it, because there is a good chance that you will encounter a problem that is unique to your system, and I cannot possibly tell you how to fix it. I think that's going to be very unique. So just, communicate with a bigger AI tool like ChatGPT or Cloud or something else to try to fix the problem that is happening when you're installing the AI app in Stability Matrix. So basically, when it is done, you still need to download an AI image model. Now, let me just close this because I actually already have the version where I have the Stable Diffusion Web UI Reforged installed on my computer. So when it is done installing, you'll see that option in the packages menu. But remember, you still need to download an AI model. You just downloaded the app, but you don't have the AI model. So to get the AI model, navigate to Model Browser, and then you'll see plenty of models that you can use later on Stable Diffusion Web UI Reforged. So one thing here that I do recommend to make sure that you are getting the correct file is in the model type, select checkpoint. If you select something else, then there is a good chance that you might be downloading a file that is not an AI model that cannot be used to generate a picture. So that's very important. Just make sure that it is in the checkpoint menu, and then for the base model or the filter here, I do recommend to select Stable Diffusion or SD 1.5 or some other variation like SD 1.5 Hyper or LCM, because the model size of this AI variation is not very big. It's quite small. It's usually only like 2 to maybe 5 gigabytes, and I think that's within the range of what your CPU can handle. And of course, it's going to be stored in your memory, so that's why you have to consider the availability of the memory on your device. Now, in this case, I actually going to use a model called Epic Realism. That's actually a variation of Stable Diffusion, Epic Realism XL. So I think it was perhaps this one, or maybe not. Okay, not that one. Let me just go back again. Yeah, so there is a model called Epic Realism, and I just actually downloaded that model. Let me just remove this. Oh, there you go. So Epic Realism XL, this is the one that I'm going to use later. I have downloaded this one to my computer. So basically, after you have opened the model page, click the download button. But again, just make sure that it says Save Tensor. That's the format that is supported by Stable Diffusion Web UI Reforged. And after that, just wait until it finishes. Now, after you have downloaded the model to your computer, we can start opening the app to run the model. So let's go to packages again, and then click launch right here. And by the way, let me just click settings because I want to just force to use CPU. So I do have a GPU, but here by adding this parameter, it will always use my CPU to run the model. It's going to be slow, but it should give you a good idea about the performance that you can expect when running an AI image model using a CPU. Spoiler, it's very slow. Like, you have to be patient when running the model. And there you go. So after that, it should open this page in your browser. In case it doesn't, then you can just type this address on your browser, and then you'll see something that look like this. All right. So for the model, I'll just use Stable Diffusion Epic Realism. That's the model that I was mentioning earlier. And then in the text to image, you can just write a prompt about the picture that you want to generate. So this is going to be the one. And then you can play around with some settings, although I do recommend to just stick with the default setting, and only after that, after you have got your first image, then you can play around with maybe changing some parameters like resolution, sampling, and maybe schedule and CFG and many other things. Like, there are gazillion amounts of settings that you can mess around, but I think if you're not an expert, just stick with the default setting, and maybe you can play around with the aspect ratio or the size of the picture, but that is quite easy to handle. But anyway, when you're done with everything with the prompt and with the settings, click generate and just wait until it finishes. So just to give you some perspective, this will take about 2 to 3 minutes, or maybe even 5 minutes if I crank up the resolution. And if I were running this model using my GPU, then it should only take like 5 seconds. So that's a huge discrepancy between a CPU and GPU. Okay, so it says 8 minutes. It is actually not quite accurate. In reality, it will just go down and then close to 5 minutes and then eventually to 3 or even 2 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to just skip a word and I'll show you the result. Okay, so it took about 3 minutes to generate this picture, and if you like it, then you can just right click and set a picture to your computer. Now, as a fun experiment, I actually have relaunch or restart the program Stable Diffusion Web UI Forge again, but this time around I was using my GPU. So I just enabled the GPU again, and now I'm going to send the same prompt, and just to show you that how quick a GPU really is and how I think it's worth it to just use even a budget GPU to run an open source AI model. And there you go, it's not even 5 seconds to generate a picture. But as you can see, the quality is not much different than the picture that was created using the CPU. So when it comes to the quality, it's not getting worse quality, it's just a lot slower. So that's one major downside when running a CPU compared to when you're running an AI model using your GPU. But other than that, I hope you learned something on this video. You can now start generating images using this tool, using only the CPU on your computer. And if you want to know some other cool AI tips and tricks, then go ahead, check this video up here, and I'll see you in that video.